There are two styles of vinyl. You can do an intermediate or premium. It's called calendar or cast. Calendared, which is it's an odd name, but it's calendar with ED on the end, is an intermediate vinyl. We use that on some of the flatter cube trucks like that. It's a less expensive vinyl, but it'll last for 10 years. It's laminated. I wouldn't wrap a car in it because it's a little thicker vinyl. It's not meant to go over complex curves, that kind of thing. So I know that there are some shops that will use nothing but premium vinyl on everything. That is open for debate. We choose, and I'm up front with my client. I'll tell them, like, we're gonna propose an intermediate vinyl that will last for 7 to 10 years. You're not gonna know the difference because it's going on flat. And if something happens, we're gonna stand behind it. But I'm saving him some money. You know, guy walks in to meet and maybe interview who's gonna wrap his van, look at his portfolio, see what kind of value he brought to his other clients. Because I believe that it doesn't cost anymore to have good design and a good idea. That just adds value to what you're already getting wrapped, as far as I'm concerned. And if you're in a large enough city, you have choices. And cheapest isn't always the best. Question to ask a shop is, what happens if an edge starts to lift or there's a failure? Will you stand behind your wrap? That's important. And it's a win-win for both. I mean, he wants to show off every wrap he's done, particularly if he's proud of his design and the install. He wants to show it off. Social media, Instagram, and if this thing is flapping like a flag going down the highway because the vinyl's let go. So that's, if any common sense from the vinyl shop or wrap shop sense is they're going to want to look after it and do due diligence to make sure that it stays and looks really great. A lot of times you'll see people will wrap and they'll stop at a panel. They'll just stop. And if you design it right, you don't have to. And it gives it flow. And that's what I'm talking about, value. Your design is good. It will make it look like it wraps around and it just gives you a better overall look. Transitions is the word I'd like to say. This guy didn't get the whole car wrapped, but it has, as far as I'm concerned, just as much impact, which is the same could be for a van or a truck or anybody's. The car's white. Yeah, and we've added the crest on the front, and that is what I talk about, just designing it right. You've got the impact of a fully wrapped car, and this is the same as how much does it cost to carpet my living room? How much, it's the same type of thing. How much material are we using on the car? So if if we're using half the material or 3/4, you're saving yourself some money, and but you've got the impact of a full wrap. There will be some disassembly, and that makes some people nervous. You do have to take some things apart. Okay, pulling tight. There's a lot of terminology they call for this. If we call it glassing, where you're pre-stretching before you even heat it or do anything to it. You want to try and get it close to the shape it's going to be. So you can see it's got some ribbons or ripples in it. You can feel it's not sticking to the surface just yet. So you can stretch it and get it into place before you even, I'm just tacking it on with my fingers, and you can just get it close to the shape it's going to be when you're done. And it also will reposition. I can lift it, I can pull on it. So you can see we haven't heated it yet, but it's already been pulled into shape. Typically, the wheel is off it. It's in the air. There's nothing that can contaminate the wrap. The tire can sometimes bring a lot of contaminants out, so normally that's gone. It's got some grit in it. This is an example of, like right here, it's got grit in it. We would tear this off and do it again. It got some underneath it. The car hasn't been blown off or isn't clean, but that's the difference for me to make it look like paint. That wouldn't fly for me. I work backwards from about $15 a square foot installed, digitally printed. And it can work backwards from there. It's the same as like, all right, so you ask a guy to carpet your living room and it's a perfect square, or you've got one that's cookie cutter everywhere, same amount of material, which one's harder, right? So it's easy for the guy. So like a van, you know, I'm gonna give the guy a solid break, you know, on it because it's easy for us to put it on. I can see that I also, you know, we're in a partnership together. I can see that he's maybe just getting started out, or I might be gaining him as a new client. I want to help him. I want to do a good job, and I wanted him to have good value because I want him to come back.